Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the Last Word Sports. Today I'm going to be doing my first edition of the Couch Scout. What is the Couch Scout? Well, it's my breakdown of my top 10 at each position in this upcoming NFL draft. So far I've watched some receivers, some corners, a little bit of hodgepodge and stuff, but one position group that I did pretty much completely finish was defensive tackle. It was actually a really fun group, a lot of different kinds of players. So I'm just gonna go through my top 10 for them, and my top guy, not a surprise, it's Jalen Carter. Now we got that as the top guy. All right, I'm just gonna say that because if you don't say Jalen Carter, you're just not watching it. Jalen Carter is so good. I mean, if I was the Bears, I'm picking number one overall unless I get a trade back where I can still get him, because I like Will Anderson. I do, and I'll talk about him when it comes to like the defensive end one. I like Will Anderson, but Jalen Carter's different. He's a different player. I mean, he's not super technically sound yet, but he is so much better of an athlete than anyone else in this draft. He destroys all of his competition. He's got crazy moves. He's got an extreme power. He's got like the speed of Chris Jones and the power of Aaron Donald, or vice versa. Whatever you want to go with. He's not built the same as Aaron Donald, but built probably more like Chris Jones. But he is like those guys in that he can wreck a game from his position. So he's one. I'm going to start out at number 10, actually, after that one, and kind of go towards the front. At 10, I got Keanu Benton, who I thought I was going to enjoy. I thought he was going to be a surprise player, somebody I might want in the second or third. I don't want to draft this guy till 5th round, maybe. He's very north and south push. He does not get lateral. He can be taken advantage in outside run schemes, like zone schemes. And his lateral movement is really bad. He follows his hands, which is good. There's a guy, defensive edge, who it's really weird. His plan is with his feet, and he wants his hands to get him where his feet want. Usually it's their plan is with their hands and they follow them, but there's one guy who doesn't do it. But anyway, Keanu Benton, he follows his hands. He's not a great run defender. He gets pushed around actually quite a bit. He's got solid pass rush. He does. He can beat people one-on-one in the middle, so he can be a okay 3-tech. If inside gets exposed, he has no counter. If the offensive lineman gets his hands inside, he's done. He's done. And that's with a lot of guys, so it's not just him, but something I noticed a lot when watching him. He is so much better when he stays low, but it's not often that he does. He always gets, as soon as the ball is snapped, he gets high. And I don't know why. If you stay low, he plays so much better. He really got dominated by Ohio State. It was so bad. That was probably the toughest game to watch of any of these players. Keanu Benton at 10. Number 9 is a guy who a lot of people are pretty high on. I see a lot of people saying even first round buzz, and I do not see it. And that is Siaka Ika. Siaka Ika. He's huge. He's powerful. If you're looking at him, you might be like, oh, it's Vita Vea. He's not Vita Vea. That's kind of racist of you to think that. He will not really be moved by O-line a lot in the run game, which is good because he's huge. It does happen though. It's not often, but he does get moved sometimes. He does not finish plays well. That's the thing. It's almost like the K'Lavon Chaisson thing where he'll get in the backfield. He'll beat his guy occasionally, and he'll get the run back in the backfield where normally be oh, it's a highlight play, but he misses the tackle. Or he'll win a pass rush move instantly, or he'll overpower his guy, and then the quarterback will just run right past him. And he's probably getting held because he's reaching out to get him and can't, but still, he does not finish well. Does not pursue play if the play is gone. He's just well, all right. That's not my job, so he doesn't pursue. He flashes potential of his power. He's huge, like I said. He flashes potential of his power and actually has some subtle quickness to him too. But it's just not enough for me. I wouldn't feel comfortable taking him until about the 4th round, in my opinion. This is the C tier for me, by the way. I believe there's kind of 2 tiers with these defense tackles, and this is the C tier. Next, I got Byron Young out of Alabama. Byron Young, he was a solid role player for them. He was another guy who, like, when the play got away, he just kind of took his sweet time to get there. He didn't pursue. He would win occasionally. He's got solid build for it. Um, he was just kind of an okay player, solid. Like, I'd take him in the fourth or third. He was, if your team drafts him in the third or fourth, I mean, it's like you got a nice role player, I guess. Now, Motzie Smith out of Michigan at number 7. Motzie Smith, I did not have high hopes for. Watching him, I thought maybe this guy might be a waste of time. He kind of seems like that Michigan guy that everyone blows up about, but kind of like Maurice Hurst. Motzie Smith, he's the best run defender in this class, in my opinion, outside of Jalen Carter. Might be better. I don't know. He will not get pushed back. He won't. He has good strength, and he has actually a pretty solid rip move on the pass rush, and he is surprisingly fast. Like, once he gets past his O-line, his one-on-one matchup or whatever, he gets double-teamed a little bit too. Whenever he gets past him, he books it to the quarterback. I mean, I see the quarterback ran a lot away from him in times where I'm like, the quarterback's got all day, and, Motzie Smith caught up. He played pretty well. So I like Motzie Smith. I take him in the third or fourth. Again, like, this is the C tier. This is my evaluation for these guys. So Motzie Smith, I liked him. He's a solid player. I had him at number 7. Number 6, I got Zacch Pickens. Zacch Pickens, if you watch the Senior Bowl, he was a guy who really wowed a lot of guys at the Senior Bowl. He won like every matchup he had. He really dominated the one-on-ones, and that really is what made me watch him. He wasn't on my radar, and I went and watched him. And against like good competition, like I think it was Clemson, Georgia, he got killed by Georgia. Not killed, but he didn't do so well against Georgia. And I was kind of like, what other games did he play? And I watched him versus Kentucky, and he did really well. He dominated. So it's matter, like, he also got double teamed quite a bit at Georgia, so maybe that's the reason why. In his one-on-ones in the NFL, when he goes to an actual NFL roster where he's probably not going to get double teamed as much, you might see somebody who can develop into a actually good player, a nice starter for you. And so that's why I have him at 6. He's also got some quick hands. He's very slow though. Like Motzie, you know how Motzie Smith books it after he gets past this guy. Zacch Pickens doesn't do that. If the quarterback runs out, it's okay. He's not getting him. He does have some insane power though on some of his rushes. He can push the O-line back. So I like Zacch Pickens at 6. Number 5. This guy is interesting. This is an interesting guy. A lot of people have him in the first round place, and I didn't see that from him. I saw a lot of good things. I saw some worrying things. Number 5, I have Bryan Bresee. A lot of people are pinning his lackluster year on some other factors outside of like college, like some personal things. And I don't mean to offend him or anybody like that. Like, if that's true, I'm sorry. I was just strictly evaluating the film. And so what I saw in film, what I heard going in was he was going to be this guy who you knew had potential, but just didn't play up to it. And that's essentially what he was. But I don't see, a lot of people say he can be like an all-pro defensive tackle if he figures it out. I don't really see that, but I don't know why, but his arms just seem short on film. When I watched him, it just looked like everyone else has longer arms. And I think it was a little bit of a struggle. Once he's stonewalled, he's done. Like, he has an initial rush, and he does not have a plan for after. He does have this veteran yank move where, you grab the jersey and you yank it, whether it's a swim or something like that, but you grab the O-line in front of you, the lineman in front of you, and the guy thinks you're going to push, so he's kind of bracing forward for it, and then you just yank him. And so he's good at that. Very inconsistent. He'll do something that you're like, wow, why don't you do that like every play? And then he'll do something that's like, I don't like, why are you getting moved by this college? That doesn't make sense. So he isn't moved in the run game. He's actually a pretty good run defender, which is nice. He does have potential. You see it in flashes. he doesn't use it. It's so frustrating because you'll see him do something. You'll see quick hands from him, and it's just like, where's that? Because all the other plays, you look like you got heavy hands and can't do anything. But then you'll have like these moments. He feels like a veteran player in college. It was so weird. I don't know how to explain it, but he felt like a veteran player in college. But he had flashes of quick hands. One thing that I did like about him is he seemed to get better as the game went on. He had trouble in the beginning figuring out his matchup, but then as the second half of the game went on, he got better. So that was kind of cool. He gets too high a lot of times. He does not keep his pad level low. It's almost like Keanu Benton, where as soon as the ball snaps, he gets up, and it's like, what are you doing? Does not get hands inside. That's a struggle for a lot of defensive linemen for some reason. He did get held sometime though, so I'm not putting it all on him. Sometimes he beat his guy and got held. So, but overall, Bryan Bresee, I would take him. Third round, in my opinion, is the money spot for him. If he falls to the third and you're in the third, you could pick him up. He could be a quality starter for you for years to come, or he could just be maybe a role player. I don't know what else to compare him to, but that's Bryan Bresee. I enjoyed watching him. He was about what I expected. I didn't hate him. I liked him. All right. So that was C tier, and there's a lot of guys in the C tier, but there's only three in the B tier. I really enjoyed watching this B tier. So starting out with the B tier at number 4, Kobe Turner out of Wake Forest. He was a guy I watched, and I was like, I don't like this guy. And just kind of, I didn't even finish the whole game. I was like, this guy's just, I think I watched him versus Clemson, and I was like, the first half, I was like, well, this guy is nothing. And I saw, like, Brett Coleman talking to him. I was just like, all right, maybe I'll check him out. And maybe that's bias on my part because I know Brett Coleman likes him, and I'm like, oh, maybe he is good. I don't know. But he was, I don't know what I was watching the first time. Okay, what I did is I did watch another game besides the Clemson. And there I was like, okay, like I watched him at North Carolina. And he dominated. Like he wasn't, there are times where he is off the field, which was a little weird. I did write down, why didn't he play more? Because there are some times where I'm like, I would have my best defensive lineman out there right now. And he wasn't out there. I don't know if it's conditioning or what. He's built a little weird. He's very, like, his arms aren't huge compared to his lower body, but it's almost like an average 3 tech, so it's not bad. He is an insane athlete. Like, Kobe Turner was fun to watch the second time. I watched the North Carolina game, I went back and watched the Clemson game, and then I was able to piece it together and be like, oh, okay. He drops back into coverage some. Like, this dude is just an insane athlete. He is so quick. I mean, for a guy his size, he looks almost as big as Siaka Ika, but he is so much faster, so quick, so much more quick. Is that the right word? He has good hands. He, like, beats his first guy a lot. The second guy always has to clean up, it seems. He has great length with his arms. Almost violent hands. When watching him, he is like a ping pong player who's twisting his whole body to hit it, or a tennis player twisting their whole body to just hit it. That's what he's doing when he swats offensive linemen's hands. He, like, winds that crap up and swats it, and it is violent, it is fast. I would not want to block him. He has good gap penetration when rushing. He does get low in short yardage situation, which is big because he is a big guy, and that's what you need him to do. But yeah, like I said, why didn't he play more? So overall, I would like to take Kobe Turner in the second. If you get him in the third, that is a steal. But I think Kobe Turner goes in the second. I really like him. And he was my number 4 guy in this B tier. Number 3 was probably my favorite guy to watch. And another guy I discovered at the Senior Bowl was Adetomiwa Adebawore. I hope I didn't botch that. This dude is just fast. He's just fast. There's no other way to say it. Northwestern played him at defensive end a little bit, which was weird. But he has an insane first step. Probably the best first step of this whole club. Maybe Jalen Carter's is better, but Ade Tomiwa is Ade. I'm just gonna call him Ade. But his first step is insane. He has one of the he's probably second in hand usage in my opinion. The number 2 guy is the best with his hands, but Ade, he handled Ohio State way better than Keanu Benton. Keanu Benton got dominated. Ade went in, and whoever he was matched up to, he had wins against. He had some losses, but it's Ohio State. You're gonna have losses, but he won, and those are NFL linemen right there. And he had a lot of wins on them. He created a lot of havoc. He made CJ Stroud roll out a lot. Long arms, even though he's short and light. So here's the thing about him. He is short. He does look light. Like I said, Northwestern played him at defensive end a little bit. It seemed like he split reps between defensive end and defensive tackle. In a perfect world, like, I don't want him to be Solomon Thomas, but in a perfect world, in my opinion, I would want him to go to a team where on first and some second downs, he's playing at defensive end to stop the run, like a 3-4 defensive end style. And then on second or on third down and some second downs, you kick him inside and let him rush for them from the middle. I think he would be a great pass rusher in that situation. I would take Ade in the second. I think he is an incredible athlete, and I don't care how small he is. I think he's going to get pressure wherever he goes. He is insane. Like, probably my favorite play I watched out of all these guys. Jalen Carter was good. He wrecked games. Like, when he played Tennessee, it was insane. It was laughable. But one of my favorite plays by any of these guys was Ade. There was a read option play, RPO by CJ Stroud. And he fakes the handoff, and he's kind of rolling to the right. But Ade was the edge, trying to keep contained on that side. And there was a blocker, and Ade completely, got past him. And it's just Ade, who's 290, 280, and CJ Stroud. And CJ Stroud hits him with a little hesitation. And it's not like Ade guessed which way CJ was going and guessed right. He reacted the same speed as CJ in space, but it wasn't when you hesitate, you can get some guy because his reaction isn't as fast as yours, and you can beat him to the edge. And that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to fake inside, get Ade and move a little bit more, and then burst outside. Ade was not. He was not having it. It was insane. It was such a good play. I loved it. So he's my number 3 guy. Loved Ade, and I would take him in the second. If he falls to the third, run to the podium with the card. Like I said, though, he might have to be a 3-4 defensive end that you kick in on third downs. Number 2. This is a guy who I thought I might like Ade better than, but I just had to be true to what the film said. He's almost like Ade, where he is very undersized. He's small. He's light. His name is Kalijah Kancey out of Pittsburgh. And it's really, really tough to watch him and not think of Aaron Donald because of his size. But he's also not built the same. Like, Aaron Donald benches 500. I think I saw in an interview with DK. He probably didn't do that when he first came into the league, but I bet he was pretty darn close. I don't think Kalijah benches 500. Now, he does have some actually pretty insane power that you don't expect. He is small, but he is a hand technician. I think he's the best with his hands in this class. I'd say it's him, then it's Ade. He's got a repertoire of moves. He really is amazing at the yank swim move. That's what I call it anyways. You grab jersey and pull it and swim over. He's got an insane rip move, pretty good. And when he locks he has a good power move when he locks his arms out. Some guys, they can get up inside and kind of bench press you, and that's their power. Kalijah, he has to have his arms locked out at the initial meet. And so he's got, but that power is effective. He pushed back Tennessee, and those might be NFL guards, but that's a good competition. He overpowered them a lot. It wasn't he kind of won that rep. No, it was in Hendon Hooker's lap. Surprising power, like I said. Looking at him, he is small, and you don't think this guy's gonna push back that guard or center, but he did. If first move is blocked, he's kind of done though. But that first move is really good though. Like, his first move it wins like 80% of the time, works every time type thing. But if it is blocked, he's kind of done. Violent hands. He does have violent hands. It's good. Probably not as strong as Kobe Turner's hands, but they are good. He uses speed moves to set up for power move. This is something I saw that really was awesome to me. Is he'll spend the first 3 quarters, 2.5 quarters of the game doing speed moves like rip, swim, do these little things that are showing off his quick hands. He'll do like a little like hesitation and rip, and then in the third or fourth quarter when he needs it, that guard who he's been beaten all game with that swim or rip, he'll like give him a little hesitation and then bam with the power. And the guard is like worried about that speed move he's been dealing with all game. So he's just kind of like not expecting it, and then bam, he's pushed back and he has walked back to the quarterback. It is really good how he sets up his later moves with his earlier moves. So that was really good. I really enjoyed that. He is the same thing as Ade for me because of his lightweight. I don't know how he'll hold up in the run game against NFL guards. He played the run game really well in college. I don't know how he'll do in the NFL though. But in a perfect world, I would like to see him as an Ade play a 3-4 defensive end on first and second down maybe, and then third down kick him inside. And you can play him inside whenever you want. Like, they're not a liability. They're just probably not your best option. And so that's what I do. He is going to be a pass rushing guru from the 3-tech. So that's Kalijah Kancey. And then number 1 is Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter's by himself in the A tier. So the B tier. So A tier, we got Jalen Carter, who's just a game wrecker. If you don't know how good he is, just go watch him. He is insane. Like, he will own games himself. B tier, we got Kalijah Kancey, Adetomiwa Adebawore, and 4 is Kobe Turner. Then we got the C tier, which has Brian Brzee, Zach Pickens, Motzi Smith, Byron Young, Siaka Ika, Keanu Benton. Very honorable mention I'd like to say is Gervon Dexter Sr. for Florida. He is probably, if he puts it together, he could probably be the best out of all of these guys. But he has the worst get off I've ever seen. He is the slowest one off the ball. When the ball snaps, he's the last one to go to the lineman. He gets high immediately. He does not keep his pads low. But when he does, I've never seen anybody look like they're not trying, and the offensive line have such trouble with him still. Georgia, it seemed like those guards were fighting for their life blocking him, and he would just look like he was taking a stroll down the street. But with that said, he has no refinement at all. He is just a lump of clay. So if somebody can get him in the 5th round, 4th round, and mold him into something good, I mean, he could be better than over half these guys. So, but yeah, that's my defensive tackle rankings. If you guys like this and want to see more, let me know. Hit the like, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys at the next one. All right.